Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the thrilling world of movies. In a world plagued by an unknown catastrophe, a group of young heroes fights against all odds to unravel the secrets of the maze and find their way to freedom. Welcome to a quick recap of the movie Maze Runner. Before we dive in, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Let's begin.
Let's go!
Thomas awakens in an ascending elevator accompanied by supply containers marked WCKD. As the elevator reaches the top, a door opens above, revealing a group of young men and boys reminiscent of the Lord of the Flies. Upon realizing he is enclosed within a small glade surrounded by immense walls, Thomas attempts to flee but is restrained by Gally, preventing him from entering a maze accessible through a wall door. Albie, the leader of the group, and his advisor Newt explain the situation to Thomas. Each month, the elevator, referred to as the box, ascends to the surface carrying supplies and a new boy. They all reside within the glade, calling themselves Gladers, but their pasts and the reasons for their presence there remain unknown. After a few days, their names gradually return to them, and each boy is assigned a specific job, such as builder or runner. The glade is enclosed by a maze with a daily opening and closing door. Runners explore the maze in search of an escape route, but if trapped inside overnight, they face a perilous fate at the hands of the grievers. The maze undergoes nightly transformations, and Albie was the first boy to arrive in the glade. The purpose behind their predicament remains a mystery. Thomas begins to form a bond with Chuck, a young boy who arrived a month before him and is one of the youngest members of the group. That night, a celebration is held in honor of Thomas. During a wrestling match between Gally and another boy, Thomas is invited to participate. They engage in a sparring match, and when Thomas hits his head on the ground, his memory suddenly returns along with his name. Subsequently, Thomas experiences a dream filled with fleeting images, where a woman utters the phrase, "Wicked is good." Albie takes Thomas on a tour of the glade, showcasing various sights. Upon arrival, each boy carves his name onto the walls, and when one dies, his name is crossed out. Thomas tries to fit in and is assigned the task of retrieving fertilizer from the woods. While carrying out this duty, he is attacked by Ben, one of the runners who has been stung by a griever. During the scuffle, Ben accuses Thomas, saying, "This is all your fault. I saw you." That boy has what they call the changing. A sting inflicts excruciating pain and incites violent tendencies in the victim. As there is no cure, boys with the changing are banished into the maze just as the doors close at night. Concern arises among the Gladers due to a griever attack during daylight hours. Thomas experiences another dream, in which the woman reiterates that wicked is good, and he recalls a memory of himself and a girl his age working together at their respective stations, examining diagnostics. The following day, Albie ventures into the maze to retrace Ben's steps and investigate the incident. Rain falls throughout the day, and as evening approaches, Albie still hasn't returned. The entire group gathers near the maze entrance, and just before the doors shut, Minho, the lead runner, arrives with an injured Albie. Thomas rushes into the maze to assist them, but he becomes trapped as the door closes behind him. Using vines, Thomas and Minho suspend Albie's body to protect it from the grievers. Albie had been stung while inside the maze. A griever emerges and pursues Thomas, who leads it between two walls that converge, effectively crushing it. The subsequent day, Gally calls for a meeting among the Gladers. While many celebrate Thomas for defeating the griever, Gally and his followers believe that Thomas has disrupted the safety ensured by their established rules, attributing the increased danger, such as daytime griever attacks, to Thomas' arrival. Meanwhile, the elevator arrives. The boys rush to inspect the contents of the elevator, finding a young girl inside. She utters the word Thomas before losing consciousness. Clutching a note reading "She's the last one ever," she becomes the cause of concern and intrigue. Gally demands that Thomas be punished since only runners are allowed in the maze. Gally is troubled by the girl's familiarity with Thomas and fears that the elevator has not descended since she was taken out. Newt suggests locking up Thomas overnight without food and assigning him as a runner starting the following day. Gally resents Newt's leniency. Some of the boys venture back into the maze to examine the griever's carcass, further angering Gally. Among the remains, they discover a peculiar device marked with the number 7 and the label WCKD. The boys realize that the supplier of their provisions is also responsible for creating the grievers. Minho presents Thomas with a map of the maze, revealing distinct sections that open and close each day. Each section is assigned a number, and the previous night, Section 7 was accessible. The girl regains consciousness and stands atop a tower, tossing objects at the boys below. Thomas calls out to her, and she agrees to let him ascend. He explains that her memory has been erased, but it will gradually return, including her name. She reveals that she already remembers her name, Teresa, and recognizes Thomas. He shares his dreams involving her, and the woman proclaiming Wicked is good. Teresa also mentions finding 2 syringes in her pocket. During Thomas' punishment of being locked up, Chuck visits him and brings food, along with a small carved statue intended as a gift for Thomas' parents. Despite his own lack of memories regarding his parents, Chuck believes they remember and miss him. Thomas returns the statue and assures Chuck that he will personally deliver it to his parents. The next morning, Thomas and Minho enter the maze with the Griever device. It emits clicking sounds and guides them to an unexplored section unknown to Minho. Concerningly, all the outer maze sections appear to be open. They reach an area labeled WCKD Loading Dock, which initially leads to a dead end. However, the device changes from red to green, revealing a new passage. This path leads them to what seems like a sewer tunnel, covered in the same slime secreted by the Grievers. They decide to return to the glade. Thomas decides to use one of the syringes on the still transforming Albie, resulting in a significant improvement. Upon awakening, Albie cryptically tells Thomas, "You are their favorite," though the meaning remains unclear. Suddenly, doors throughout the maze open, unleashing a swarm of Grievers. The ensuing Griever attack devastates the Gladers' village, claiming many lives. Albie perishes, but Chuck survives after being seized by a Griever. They manage to sever its tail. Following the assault, Thomas realizes that the Griever's venom aids in memory recovery. He stings himself with the hacked-off tail and gains additional recollections. Thomas remembers that the maze serves as a test rather than a prison. He witnesses other boys incubated in tubes, some in a state of panic. He also recalls his own identity as a scientist working alongside Teresa. The Gladers administer the second syringe, curing Thomas and prompting him to confess his role in their predicament. Gally, driven by anger, and his supporters bind Thomas and Teresa to stakes near the maze entrance as an offering. However, half of the group remains loyal to Thomas, leading to their rescue. The Gladers become divided. Thomas tells Gally that he would rather die attempting to escape than perish in the glade without trying. Thomas leads a group into the maze. They reach the loading dock area, but are ambushed by Grievers once more. They retreat through the sewer tunnel, ultimately arriving at a locked door. They realize the numerical code must be the sequence in which the maze sections open. Teresa inputs the code, and the door opens, sealing off the pursuing Grievers. The kids proceed through a series of hallways until they encounter a regular exit door, akin to those found in office buildings. They pass through it and find themselves inside the lab from Thomas' dreams and memories. The scientists lie dead, and a video begins playing. The woman from Thomas' dreams, Ava Page, introduces herself and reveals that global devastation known as the flare wiped out humanity. She belonged to an organization called the World Catastrophe Killzone Department that believed testing the children's brains could lead to a cure. As she speaks, armed guerrilla soldiers storm in, killing the remaining scientists. Page commends the kids for passing the initial test and emphasizes that Wicked is good before ending the video by shooting herself in the head. A door opens, leading outside. Before anyone can exit, Gally appears with a gun, claiming that they all belong in the glade. He intends to shoot Thomas, but Chuck sacrifices himself and takes the bullet. In turn, Gally is stabbed in the chest with a knife. Chuck hands Thomas the bloodied statue before dying. A group resembling the guerrilla soldiers seen in the video arrives and escorts the kids to waiting helicopters. The helicopters lift off, revealing a city in ruins covered in sand. While flying over the maze and the glade, no one questions why the helicopters did not land inside the glade to rescue the kids. In the final scene, it is revealed that Paige is alive and wiping fake blood off her head. She remarks that the kids took the bait, and more of them survived than anticipated. The maze was a successful experiment, and now Phase 2 can commence as the helicopter soars away toward the ruined city. And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.